Hello and welcome to Sports Vibe TV. Today we're here with Chris Boardman. Chris, welcome to Sports Vibe TV.
Thank you.
You first came into the public eye when you won Britain's opening medal in the 1992 Olympic Games. It was a great achievement for any Brit to win a cycling medal at that point. Obviously now things have changed, quite a lot of progression. How much have you seen the sport move on since those days?
Well, I mean, that was the first gold medal for cycling in 72 years. I mean, it was obviously a long time ago. We just about made it into colour television, actually. But the sport since then has changed massively. I mean, through the 90s, not so much. But then when we started to have real sporting success from 2004 onwards within cycling, and then we had the Tour de France, came to the capital in 2007, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. The nation just sort of fell in love with cycling. And then, I think more importantly for me, people started to see the bike not just as a sport, but something as to do for themselves, for fun, and a way to get to work, which for me is what cycling is all about. Just a bloody good way to get around the streets, and nowhere more so than in London.
Absolutely. And yourself, you've now moved into journalism, both as a writer and in broadcast. Is that something you always wanted to do, even when you were an athlete?
I think it stems from I love making things. I mean, my trade is actually, I started to train to become a cabinet maker, to a posh joiner, and I got waylaid by cycling, so never finished the training. But I love making things, and writing, be it scripts or books, is just a form of making something, starting with a blank piece of paper, literally or metaphorically, and making something. I'm working on the Tour de France. It's a fantastic little crew that squabbles and fights the way around France all summer, and we don't know what it's going to be until we start. We make 2 full television programs a day, every day. The whole thing moves 200-300 kilometers every day, and it's an incredible month because we don't know what it is until the race unfolds. And I get a lot of leeway to write things and put them into a show, and it's a marvellous, exhausting experience.
Well, we know a lot about your highlights as an athlete. As a journalist and broadcaster, what would you say is the point you've most enjoyed covering in cycling?
The bit that I enjoy the most now is actually the political side, believe it or not, trying to push to get cycling seen as just a great way to get around. You know, as it is 600 miles from where we're sitting now in Copenhagen, in Denmark, in Amsterdam, just a few hundred miles away, where the bike is just a natural form of transport for short journeys. So I'm trying to use skills learned in journalism elsewhere to promote this form of what I think is just a wonderful, beautiful form of transport.
And going along with that as well, you've obviously got your own cycling range and clothing range. What would you say are the key points about the range that you're involved in?
Well, it's another form of making something. You know, we talk, be it writing, be it whatever it might be, just making things. And making bikes is great. I mean, I fettled and filed things on my own bike since I was in my early teens, just like making things. And to have your own bike company is just like, it's like the largest Lego set in the world, really. And it's been brilliant, and it couldn't have been timed better. Just as cycling gets big was when we started to make and sell bikes, getting involved with Halfords, so hundreds of shops and instantly available, and it's been just great fun, and we just love it. We just love it. Sitting down, often with a napkin, sketching on a piece of paper something that we might want to do, and in a year's time to see it real and on a shelf in over 400 shops is it's a pretty good ego trip.
Sure it is. And talked about the increase in participation in cycling. How much of that comes down to the Olympics for you?
I don't think there's a direct correlation between sport in cycling and utility cycling. What I do think there is a visibility of cycling in the media all the time. So you win the Olympic Games and London loves it, that's fantastic, and then they say, wow, we want the Tour de France to finish here, and because they've seen it on the television, they're more likely to do that. Then they have Ride London, so that's a mass participation for people in, you know, from cut-off jeans all the way through to the sports types. So another big event for cycling that gets across to people, you know, from couch to club. It bridges that gap. So I think it's important as part of the advert for this wonderful tool, and to keep it at the forefront of our consciousness, be it for going to the shops to get a loaf of bread or going out at the weekend with friends.
Do you think a lot of that comes down to individuals as well? Because you've got people like Bradley Wiggins with his own Fred Perry range, obviously Victoria Pendleton, big stars. How much difference does that make?
characters in any product and cycling, you could think of it as a product. Characters are really important for a brand to stand out, for cycling to stand out from other things that people can do with their leisure times or ways they can get to work. It's important that you have news and interest around it. And there's one thing that Bradley Wiggins is, it's a story, because nobody's quite sure what they're going to get. And he's a fascinating character. I'm mesmerised to see what it is that he's going to do post-cycling, which is fast approaching.
Well, brilliant. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks a lot.